for guests. I invite Eric Desaulniers, Nouveau Monde Graphite CEO, and my fellow directors to address the shareholders and guests with a management presentation. Eric, can I hand over to you?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, for this AGM, and looking forward presenting the recent update on NMG to all the audience. So, we'll do it in 4 different blocks. First of all, I will do a reminder of the NMG strategy, and then we'll discuss more precisely, I will discuss the commercial aspect of the business and the current marketing, the market approach. And then I will hand over to our Chief Operating Officer, Bernard Perron, for an update on the operation and the project itself. And then Charles-Olivier, our CFO, will talk about financing and different corporate development. So as the chair mentioned during the meeting, I will do forward-looking statement. I refer you to the website of NMG to read in details those forward-looking statement slides. So why we believe the formula that we have built is very successful. First of all, we are in the right market at the right time. There's absolutely a big growth ahead of us, especially in the Western world for EV and building all the onshoring and the supply chains. That market recently, with multi-year offtake agreement with two of the largest in our market, Panasonic Energy and GM, made a commercial validation of our business model, of our product, of our business. We are located in the Tier 1 operating jurisdiction, and it's quite important for safety of supply, but also to build a resilient cost structure with infrastructure like hydroelectricity that we have in Quebec, Canada, that is beyond very, very important for us in our resilient cost structure. We have de-risked that business plan by operating demonstration plan of the phase 1 demonstration plan since 2018. Now, since 6 years, we are improving our processes. And we have now, with the acquisition from Mason Graphite of the Watnan mining project, we have the scaled approach. We have the scale to grow with our customer. And we're committed to ESG principle that is quite important and a clear differentiator for NMG with our customers. And now even we're closer to 120 professionals, all based close to the project, that are working very hard to bring that project into production. So having that kind of diversification of expertise internally in close proximity to the 2 projects we're developing now, it's very important. So what you see on that slide is in dark gray is the Quebec province in northeast of North America. We have the 3 main assets. In blue, it's the phase 2 and 1, the Bécancour and the Matawini mine. So the Matawini mine is over 100,000 tons of flake graphite will be produced there. It's fully permitted. Bernard will discuss where we are on the project. Most of the production will be sent into Bécancour in bulk, in a relatively close proximity, to be transformed into anode material. And that project in blue there, this is really the phase 1 and 2, and this is what we have currently under offtake agreement with Panasonic and GM for 85% of the production of that vertical. And then more recently, we've acquired in green the Watnan mining project, one of the largest graphite deposits in the world, where we're developing there a project 5 times the size at 500,000 tons per annum of flake concentrate. And we believe the Matawini mine and the Watnan mining project are the 2 most advanced and largest graphite operation in North America. So why what we do is very important for customer. It's very important for the customer who are building big cell factory in North America to have a solution that is fully vertically integrated. So by being fully vertically integrated from the rock to the cell maker, it allows us to have a resilient cost structure is very important, but also controlling our carbon footprint, controlling our quality as well. So it's easier to qualify the product and be sure that this product will be sold to our customer for a long time in a safe manner. So what we're doing with a highly ESG-oriented product is very important for customers, and they've demonstrated it recently. And we're doing in 3 phases. So this slide is there since over 8 years now. Phase 1, was to really demonstrate our ability to make the product and understanding the cost, understanding how to do it at scale, and fully permitting the project as well. So the phase one was quite important, and it allowed us really to start construction of the phase two and doing the project financing that we're in now, and allowing to get the multi-year offtakes with Panasonic and GM, for instance, and will deliver by, hopefully 2027, as described here, the profitability of the business. And then based on the phase two success, now we need to take all market share possible by having a large asset that we can, duplicate what we're doing on phase two in many jurisdictions in the world, in Europe, in North America for expansion, and developing it to make sure we follow the growth of this market and provide a solution for a meaningful scale for our customer. Everything we do at NMG is very important to do it in the best ESG standard. So we quite recently, a year ago maybe, Benchmark Mineral developed an ESG performance, and they have 79 different sustainability indicators that I've reviewed independently, and they have made NMG as an industry leader. We are hopeful one day that other graphite player will be in the good practice in green. So if we can share some of our knowledge, we'll do. But it's a clear differentiator for NMG to be offering this ESG-oriented solution to our customers. So disciplined execution of our business strategy, it's something that is very important to make sure we put every block of the foundation at the right place to build a strong business. Three main priorities today. First of all, make sure the commercial engagement that we've started with the two large offtakes, we continue on that road, and we make sure we qualify, we finish a certification, and we build this project together, and we offer a very strong solution to our customers. So this is something very important while we continue the product development and create more value using the flake that we're producing out of the mines. Then secondly, we have a lot of technical and operation milestones to deliver in the next few months and also the next few years to build the project. Bernard will talk about it. This is quite important. And last and very important as well, Charles will discuss about the project financing structure, the governmental engagement, and our First Nation partnership that we're building on a daily basis. Since now over 10 years, we're interacting with the First Nation in proximity of our project. So all of this, three main priorities, will build a strong foundation to launch the construction of the phase two, to make sure we deliver on time the product that we have promised and the customer are engaged into with the offtakes agreement. So few words about those offtakes. They are quite important. We just did the math. It's over $2 billion US of sales, of orders of products. So it's quite an important and significant commitment from both Panasonic and General Motors. It's a commitment from them to their own respective business strategy to develop EV in North America. So this is something that was necessary for a company like us to build a project. First of all, they made a first investment of $25 million each to allow us to bring the project to FID. So this is exactly what we're doing now, based on the 18,000 ton per annum for GM, 18,000 ton for Panasonic. We have now enough commitment for our production to go into the project financing mode and finalize the discussion we were having with the stakeholders around financing the project. And also they have committed to invest more money once we are at this project financing phase. So those offtakes are quite fundamental, are necessary, and they are, the basis of our ability to build the phase two project. And, it is quite important for our customer, for us to deliver the anode material on time and on budget in their facility in the US. So we all know Panasonic Energy in Nevada are quite active since a few years, and now they're building a large plant in Kansas. We are hopeful they will continue to announce more expansion in the US. So, and the same with GM. GM have made different agreements with Ultium, for instance, for 3 plants Ohio, Michigan, and Tennessee. So only with those 2 large customers that are amongst the largest or the largest in our market here, it is quite important to deliver the product on time to them and offer a solution to the recent geopolitics that we'll discuss, a local solution for them and on time, on quality. So they are really involved in our development. They are part of the ongoing development team to make sure we deliver on time and on quality for them in the US. So for sure, GM, Panasonic are the best customer for us, but there's a lot of other potential customers as well in the US. And what we are doing for GM and Panasonic, it seems big, it seems like a large order, but if we look what is in construction in the US, what we're doing will serve about 50 to 75 gigawatt hour, depending on different hypotheses there, but it's quite small compared to 1,464 gigawatt hour that are currently in construction in the US and monitored by Benchmark Minerals, for instance. So there's a lot of more market in the US, and that's why we have acquired the Watnan mining project, is because we need to provide more solutions to more customers in the US, where there's a lot of growth to be expected recently. And it's the same for Europe. For Europe is 1.2 terawatt hour, so 1,200 or so gigawatt hour of capacity. So that's quite important. And if those 2 large projected capacity are built in US and Europe, we can think about an all electrified world, not only for EV, but also power storage that is quite growing in the recent years. So there's a clear commitment from the Western world to electrify our economy. And there's also a lot of discussion recently about a slowdown in EV. We don't see that when we look at numbers. For sure, there's more competition in the EV landscape. So it's not only a Tesla story anymore. There's a lot of new model coming out. Hyundai is pretty successful recently in North America, Ford as well. And there's a lot of new model coming out every year. We expect GM to be very successful in the upcoming years with new models that are coming online this year, for instance. So year after year, it's a 19% growth still. So the number is growing every year, and the growth still a big number. So only that growth is a significant amount of natural graphite needed to supply this. So we are very optimistic about the current pace of growth, especially in North America, on EV. And even if there's a big growth of EV and a big growth of the demand for natural graphite, there's a lot of barriers now that are implemented by different administrations. So first of all, we all heard about recently the Inflation Reduction Act and the more specific around natural graphite that will be starting in 2027. There's a clear cut in 2027 that now they will need to leave the supply chain from China, risking big penalties if they're not doing it. And graphite is one of the most controlled material going in battery coming from China. So for us, it's a very good opportunity. The Biden administration made I think a smart move that starting in 2027, the first, we are the most advanced and the largest, and it's 2027, the date of delivery of our offtake. So for sure, doing it before that would not have been super constructive. So 2027 is a clear gate there where the Biden administration and any, if it's Trump or Biden or any government will respect that, because there will be availability of product in North America in 2027. So that's one big barrier to the Chinese supply chain coming in North America. And then there was a new one implemented recently, and we were fortunate to discuss a few times with the White House around this topic. So there's now clear import tariff on natural graphite for the first time that will be implemented in 2026. It's a 25% bump on anode material, of natural graphite anode material coming from China. So it's quite useful and helpful for us to justify the construction of those large major projects, to have this also help from the US administration on tariffs. So those two things at the same time, what's the answer of China since December 1st? It's restriction on exports. So it's making even more risky to not have any alternative. So for sure, we don't want to displace altogether China. China have a lot of availability of graphite today. However, it's essential for all large OEM in the US to have at least one alternative to de-risk their whole strategy around EV on graphite. And that's what we see market-wise as well. Pricing was difficult in the last 12 months, and it's a bit showing also the equity pricing follows a bit of the commodity pricing on graphite. So what we see historically, it's 100% coming from China for spherical graphite. So for sure, we are impacted by the cost in China that is currently a bit oversupply. But what we see in North America, in our market, is totally the opposite. So there's no supply in North America for a very large demand, and in China is quite the opposite. So we, not us only, but all market intelligence company we're talking to, will see premiums to be implemented in North America to have supply in North America. That's a fact, and that's what we see happening in the upcoming few years for sure. So that's, you know, some of the market intelligence company we're talking to, they're all forecasting some sort of premiums in the future, growth in the future for North American supplier like NMG to build more and more capacity to fit in the demand that is needed locally. And for each 10% gain, 2% gain in price, I would say the other way around. Every 10% gain in price, it's a 2% increase in IRR. So justifying why we acquired what we believe to be the only large and advanced natural graphite deposit in North America other than the Matawini mine. So we acquired what was named the Lac Guéret deposit in the past by Mason Graphite. They have invested north of $80 million on the project already. So it's a very advanced asset that now we will put more and more effort at bringing construction ready in the upcoming years. So on that, maybe I will hand over to our Chief Operating Officer, Bernard, for some project execution discussion.
Thank you very much, Eric. Well, now we're on the operations side. The team has been quite busy over the last year getting ready for this new exciting phase of development, which is the construction execution. The first task that we had to do was to assemble a world-class team of project leaders who have the experience of two things: major industrial project and understand the particularities of construction industry in Quebec. So that's what we did. And now that we have our leaders in place, the second task was to identify the very best execution model to execute these kind of projects here. So myself and our project leaders, supported by very experienced consultant, have determined that the integrated team model was the most efficient execution model in this jurisdiction in order to achieve our lowest project management costs, lowest capital costs, and our very shortest schedule possible. So meanwhile, we continued our discussion with government agencies and program, strategic investors and lenders to refine our targeted capital structure for project financing. You'll hear from that from our CFO. So moving to the next slide. So what is the integrated team model? Well, it simply means that while the experienced project leaders at Nouveau Monde will retain the overall coordination of the project, we went on to partner with the very best firms in Quebec and in the areas, and partner with in the areas of strength. So, for example, we partner with Atkins Realis, that's doing the engineering of the concentrator and the mine at Saint-Michel-des-Saints, while BBA, another engineering firm out of Montreal, is our overall engineering integrator for the Bécancour plant. For construction management, we've announced that we've selected Parmelo. Parmelo is very well known for management of large civil and industrial projects. And finally, we will receive support from Progesis in the area of project services like cost control, schedule, document control. They will help us in I would say, the back office managing the projects. So as far as construction, this strategy will really allow us to go out for tender for the construction packages and get the very best value in areas of civil, mechanical, electrical, and instrumentations. So what has this integrated team has been doing over the last few months? Well, we're getting ready for construction, and in parallel, we're preparing all of the deliverables to support our final investment decision. So it's things like updating the Class 3 estimate, updating our feasibility study, developing our project execution plan, an operational readiness roadmap, our construction health and safety plan, and finally our environmental and social management system that will all support the execution phase. Next slide. So if you've driven through the Bécancour area lately, you'll see what you see on the pictures there, which is a flurry of industrial development, all associated with the battery industry. That is a great opportunity for us at Nouveau Monde, as we're perfectly positioned to capitalize on all this expanded pool of specialized contractors and industrial services that had to grow in order to support this first wave of investments. So now we'll be able to select the very best ones that will be transitioning from these large projects to move on to our construction sites. Another benefit that we're seeing right now, as Eric mentioned, is that we're working very closely with Panasonic and GM, our customers, to benefit from their lesson learned from their own investment, recent investment construction projects. GM has one in Bécancour. So like that, it allows us to capture procurement synergies and ensure that those are included in our execution strategies and get good tips as to what the best contractors are in the area and which ones are performing the best. Moving to our path to zero emission mining, in parallel to getting ready for construction, we're also advancing on our path to zero emission mining. Thanks to our strategic agreement with Caterpillar, Nouveau Monde, we're fully engaged in the development of zero emission equipment for our Matambini mine. So in addition to developing the equipment, Caterpillar is also using state-of-the-art simulation technology. It's quite impressive to optimize the fleet and the charging infrastructures specifically for our mine. It's not every day for a manufacturer like Caterpillar to get the opportunity to work on a very brand new mine and where the entire operation can be optimized from the very beginning. So this is very exciting for us. Now we're also working with Caterpillar to adopt a de-risking strategy. So we've made sure that we'll go from the first fleets that traditional fleets will have to early prototypes and early learner models to pilot units and gradually transition to our electric fleet of tomorrow. So that will be our strategy. So that's for the phase 2. And I will now pass on the microphone to our CFO, Charles-Olivier.
Good, thanks, Bernard. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us. Today, I'll be sharing some of the project finance milestones that we're actively working towards. First, with the transformational transaction announced earlier in 2024, we have put in place a sound capital structure that will support the next phase of development for NMG. As of today, Palingers, a shareholder of NMG since 2019, holds 16% of NMG common share, while Mitsui, which has been supporting the company since 2022, holds 12% of the common share. Both investors are actively supporting NMG to ensure a successful final investment decision. Our anchor customer, GM and Panasonic, hold the same 11% position and intend to invest a further $275 million at FID. This commitment provides tremendous credibility to NMG while we are arranging the project finance structuring. As of March 31st, 2024, our cash position was $88 million, which is used to advance key activities ahead of FID, such as the operation of our phase 1 facility to meet product qualification milestone, also advancing our phase 2, including engineering, long lead item purchasing, and preparatory works, which will support a faster construction schedule. Our organization is laser focused on delivering a positive FID at the best possible condition. Moving to the next slide, and just a quick recap. In 2022, we released a 43-101 feasibility study integrating both the Matawini mine and the Becanco site. The result indicate an after-tax NPV of $1,581 million with an after-tax IRR of 21%. The expected yearly revenue is approximately $600 million, while the operating expense are projected at $200 million. This provide on a pro forma basis an EBITDA of $400 million with initial capex of $1,404 million. As we've been facing high inflation over the last several years, we will be right-sizing the budget by updating the 2022 capital cost estimate to reflect today's pricing environment. We're also optimizing the result of the 2022 feasibility study to reflect the latest project conditions, including adjustment to the plan design to meet requirement from anchor customer, and also incorporating some lessons learned from our phase 1 activities. Moving to next slide. As we navigate through more volatility in the financial market and EV sector, we are seeing macroeconomic support for critical minerals in Canada, US, and Europe. This obviously include material made from natural graphite, which China dominate the market today. We have the benefit of working with BMO Capital Market and Société Générale, which are best-in-class financial advisor and arranger. Their input have been really precious while we needed to ensure the bankability of the offtake agreement with Panasonic and GM. In recent months, we've seen governmental measure to foster investment in the sector. In the US, the IRA, or the Inflation Reduction Act, has been one of the leading measures which support mining company, processor, battery makers, all the way to the car maker. As for NMG, an important tax measure will have a great impact on the overall project finance structure. The bill introducing the investment tax credit for clean tech manufacturing was recently sanctioned by the Canadian government. This tax credit target 6 critical minerals, including natural graphite, and provide a 30% refundable credit on the processing equipment capital costs. As such, we evaluate the measure to cover approximately 25% of our current capital cost requirement for our phase 2 project, which represent an amount of approximately $300 to $350 million. We are targeting a debt to equity ratio of 60-40, while we're seeking additional government support locally and abroad, based on where we will be sourcing our key equipment using export credit agency financing solution. Overall, and as a general principle, we are in a position to benefit from the fact that most Western governments are currently putting in place targeted financial programs to support the localization of critical mineral supply. And we intend to use that support over the next few months to get to a successful FID. So this concludes today's management presentation. With that, I'll turn it to Julie to open the Q&A session.
Thank you, Charles-Olivier. Bonjour à tous. Alors, j'invite les participants qui ont des questions à utiliser la fonction sur la gauche de votre écran, questions posées, pour soumettre les questions que vous souhaitez que la direction puisse adresser. On fera de notre meilleur pour répondre aux questions en langue qu'elles seront posées, donc pas de problème pour les adresser en français. To all shareholders and attendees, you're invited to submit your questions in the Ask a Question button function on the left side of your screen, and we'll be directing those to management, providing answers in whatever language the questions are asked. So with that, we already have a question that was submitted earlier, so I'll address it right away. So the first question is in regards to the start of production in terms of sales and profit starting to be materialized for shareholders. So when do we estimate that we will be able to start commercial sales and associated profits?
Maybe I can start the questions and my colleague can complete if needed. So for sure it's difficult to make a very precise projection until we have made the optimized feasibility study that Charles mentioned. And so we are currently for FID optimizing our master schedule, our final capital cost. And for sure, we are expecting somewhere between 30 and 34 months of construction once we start FID before we start ramping up and building profits after the ramp up. So you can add those months. So once you see an FID decision being made and the start of construction, we'll also update at the same time we're starting construction what is the final master schedule of the project, final capital cost. But we expect anywhere between 30 and 34 months to deliver the project before starting to ramp up. Am I okay, Bernard? Okay.
That's exactly the case. Thank you.
Merci. So following question, there's a question regarding the market cap of NMG. Does the market cap need to be raised in order to obtain the funding from GM and Panasonic that is planned at FID, as there is some sort of cap on their percentage of ownership as outlined in the announcements previously made?
I would say the fact that we have a lot of strategic stakeholder in our project financing today, so neither GM or Panasonic or Mitsui or Palingers or IQ are by themselves making a large equity financing. So we expect that all of them will contribute to their pro rata or a bit more in some cases. So we don't see currently a cap being like a constraint to proceed to project financing.
Perfect. We don't have any other questions at this time, so we can wait perhaps for another minute before wrapping up the meeting if there aren't any other questions. I'll take the opportunity to apologize for the poor internet connection during the formal portion of the meeting. So we're very sorry about this technical difficulty. Hopefully you were able to participate fully and exercise your vote. I think we got the essence of it nevertheless. So with that, if there aren't any other questions, I thank all participants today for your attendance at the annual general meeting and at management's presentation. Merci à tous pour votre participation aujourd'hui. Bien apprécié. Un enregistrement de la présentation du management sera disponible sur notre site web et sur notre chaîne YouTube dans les... d'ici quelques heures pour ceux qui voudraient rattraper certains contenus. So we'll make a recording of the management's presentation available through our website and our YouTube channel very shortly. Merci beaucoup.